Sport 24 editor Garen Lamley and chief writer Rob Howing join us in studio this morning to discuss the latest developments at SA Rugby and the announcement on Friday that coach Alistair Coetzee and the union had parted ways, as well as some other sporting headlines. Gents, good morning. It's very good to have you back in the studio.
Morning, Nick.
And yeah, some big headlines prior to the weekend, and then obviously some shocking results on the weekend. So we'll get onto that later. Rob, I'm going to start with you. Not a huge surprise, obviously, that Alistair Coetzee was retrenched or had stepped down. I'm not sure which it was. If anything, it's just a bit of a drawn-out process.
It was. It took a long time. You know, procedures are quite a delicate issue sometimes. You know, when you're dealing with employment contracts and so on. I think the fact that it was definitely going to happen was made clear when the letter leaked out, the letter that Alistair Coetzee had sent to Yuri Roux, where, among other things, he effectively revealed that he wouldn't be prepared to serve under Rassie Erasmus as a director of rugby. Now, taking away the fact that it was
he
actually
called incompetent, didn't he?
Yeah, well, he was also not quite as much. He said that his competence, I think, was superior, shall we say? So yeah, okay. Maybe you could say that your interpretation is identical, okay. But. It was really it was almost like a revolt at that stage. It was the coach who was under massive pressure anyway, knowing that he'd lost 95% of the public sentiment probably by that stage anyway, effectively saying, I won't work under the director of rugby, which is a slightly dangerous thing to say, because in this day and age, I mean, I think Garen will agree with me that a director of rugby post is not that sort of outrageous or out of the ordinary above a head coach. You know, it has become part and parcel of the professional game. And whoever that personality was going to be, potentially a head coach, especially one who hadn't been doing well at all in the results column. In fact, you know, of the coaches who've had sort of longish stints with South Africa post-isolation, Alistair's win percentage of 44 is the worst. I mean, full stop. There's no getting around that. And that really was the peg that they ultimately, I'm sure, were able to hang him on. So no major surprise. I was relieved. I was disappointed because I've always liked Alistair. I still think that he's got some qualities as a first-class coach, in other words, just below test level. But I'm afraid he just didn't make the big step up when he was named the Springbok coach. I felt that for the entire duration of his tenure, the 2 years that he did anyway, the Boks didn't really show enough signs of consistent progress. Yeah. We saw flashes here and there, that series against France, but a pretty wretched French side, it has to be said. Slightly disinterested after their European winter slog anyway. And that was a bit of a false dawn. We saw that when we saw some of the gory results later on against the All Blacks. End of season tour was very grim watching as well, even though we eked out a result here and there. The cherry on top for me was that losing to what was effectively a Wales A side in Cardiff in the last sort of that out of window test match at the end of the season. And by then, I'm afraid the old Hatfall factor had taken hold of a lot of scribes, a lot of the public, probably the administrators at SARU as well. So, you know, the Alistair years are emphatically over.